part 50. Holy cow, we have come a long way. Breathe deep, everyone. If you made it this far, pat yourself on the back for doing this. Like, you did a great job. If you made it this far, and if you have something that looks even remotely similar to this, I am so happy for you, and I'm proud of you, and I'm glad you stuck through it and did it. So with this one, we're going to have some fun. We're essentially done. We should go in and just apply any modifiers that our model may have. So we're just going to go in, and this is kind of it's just a last one final thing that we do. We go in and we just apply the modifiers. Okay, and this just kind of locks them into place. Okay, so, oh, hang on, we don't want to do that. Don't want to duplicate. And it's just, this is just finishing touches, y'all. All we're doing is finishing touches, okay? You can only do this in object mode. And the screencast keys are on. Oh, man, I am breathing. I feel good. I'm glad this is done. This is a long time coming. This took a long time, y'all. If you made it through this semester, like, well done. We are done modeling, okay? Which is great, and something that you should be excited for. Okay, all I'm doing is applying modifiers. So now, if I pulled the skirt apart, it wouldn't separate into two parts. If I pulled the vest apart, it wouldn't separate into two parts. The mirror modifier is now anchored into one piece. Here, look, let me show you. Okay, so now if we were to go like this, the vest would come off. See? Okay, that's just to show you. Just to show you. That's all that is. Okay. You know what we can do? Let's Shift S and put cursor to world origin. Cursor right here. Let's put her on an infinite background. Okay. This is just okay. Now we've made a model. How do we present our model to the world? So we're going to Shift A and add a plane, and then let's scale this by 10. Okay. Okay. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to select the back edge, and then I'm going to extrude along the Z and just bring this up. Okay, I want to bevel this, so I'm going to Control B to bevel this son of a gun, and now I'm just going to roll my middle mouse button a few times and kind of get that smooth curve. Okay, take that away and do it again. If you don't want to hit Control B, you can come over here and grab bevel and then just pull it, and again, middle mouse, the glory of the middle mouse, lay in its ability to curve. Okay, that's just another reason you want the middle mouse button. We'll lock that in. We will tab into object mode, right, and shade the smooth, and now that creates like a nice little smooth backdrop. Okay, and now we can come over into materials, and let's give this a material, and we'll call this backdrop background. And let's give it, here, let's kick it into where we can see it a little bit. A little gray. Ooh, gray looks nice. You know, what would this look like? Just a little blue. Let's take these out. Let's tab back into, let's just grab this on the Z. Just a little bit more. Maybe more let's get 3-point lighting in here. We're not going to bank on having the environment lighting. So let's go into world. We'll just make color. I'm going to click on this and just remove the link. Okay, and it goes away completely. And now it's a dark scene because, you guessed it, we don't have any light. That environment texture provided all the light that we needed. So we're going to come back to materials preview, and that kind of lets us see what it looks like. And now we're going to add some lights to our scene. We're going to add something called 3-point lighting, and that's the default lighting setup for all shots, because lighting can make or break that setup. And Blender Institute has a wonderful video in their fundamental series on 3-point lighting, and I suggest that all of you go watch that video, and I will link that video in the description of this video. So solid mode, and in object mode here, let's turn our overlays on, and let's Shift A to add a light, and I'm going to add a point light. Okay, here again, point light, Shift A, light, point light. Now we have one light, and let's make this light, put this light in the light collection. Okay, no reason to get sloppy now. Now with the move tool over in our tools, let's put this on the left side of our face. And in 3-point lighting, the key light is the key light. It's the main light of on a composition. And 3-point lighting is it's not even industry standard, it's art standard. You know, it's in film and painting and now 3D. And the key light is if and when someone looks at the lighting of a painting and they say, oh, the light's coming from that direction, that light is the key light. So let's move this to the left side of our model's face. Okay, now we obviously can't see the light, which is no good, but we can see it in render. Okay, and now she's got a little glow on her face. Just like that. I'll move this back a little bit, maybe forward a little bit. So this is kind of, it's almost like candlelight, pretty intimate. So we want to go down to the light, and we just click on power right here and left click drag, and you can see she's just getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Let's try 100. That's still pretty bright, but we can also pull this away from her face a little bit. She doesn't have to be that close. Okay, this can be up a little bit like that. I'm going to bump this up to 500, and then I'm going to move it away. Okay, but still down to the left. Okay, you with me? Good. Bump it up to 1,000. Okay, now let's add a fill light. Okay, and let's move this in. Great. Okay, so you see how these shadows are real sharp? They don't need to be, and the fill light is supposed to soften. In theory, the fill light softens that. So let's Shift D to duplicate our light, and you want it to be opposite wherever your main light is. So if your key light is top left, then your fill light should be bottom right. You can actually bring this in a little more, and you see how it's completely washed out? It's like, oh no, you don't want that at all. Bring this down to 0. Okay, and now very slowly just bring it up until the shadows soften. Okay, it probably shouldn't be that close either, probably here. Maybe here, even down a little bit more. Okay, so there's pretty hard shadows, and now you can kind of see and it really is supposed to be the dimmest bulb in your book. Okay, so how about just that right there, like just barely, and it softens the shadows just a scotch. Okay, now let's add our rim light. All right, and the rim light is in theory supposed to be the brightest one. So we're going to Shift E again. We'll lock this in, and here let's name these. We'll call this key light. We'll call this fill light, and we'll call this one rim light. And the rim light, we can put this, let's put it at 0, just so we can move it directly behind our model, and then bring it up. So in theory, this should be directly behind her, and we want it to be the brightest light. So now, type in something crazy like 50,000. There you go. It's really aggressive. Look at you. Okay, so you can see our environment is overlit, right? And we don't really want that. And that's because this light right here casts light in all directions. Okay? And we can change that, and we can make it a spotlight. So let's do that now with our rim light selected. Point light, we're going to make it a spotlight, and spotlights are directional. Okay, so you can see it's still very strong, but now let's use our rotational tool over here and just rotate it up at our character. We can see we're beaming it right into her, which is great. So now we don't lose, and we can actually, the shape, we can bring this down considerably. So it only really touches the rim. You see that? Or if it's too big, I'm going to go 40,000. I don't see a difference. 30,000. I don't see a difference. So there's that. We can go even smaller. Like there. Move this back a little bit. Covers more, and then down. So in theory, it should be able to cover more. Okay. It does, but we lose the hair. Push this up. We get the hair back and the curves. Let's kick over into material and see what happens when we bring some light up into this. Now that we have lights, let's see what a light does to this. Oh, pretty. So now we have lighting. So now let's render our image. Okay. And so now let's set up a camera. We're going to Shift A to add a camera. Okay. Let's put this on the world origin with a couple of Zs, or with a couple of knots, with 3 knots. And then let's pull it back like so. And then if you hit 0, numpad 0. Is there another camera in there? Yes, there is. Okay, I'm going to delete this camera. I don't want that camera. I'm going to hit 0 again, and you go into this camera. Outstanding. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, so 0 is kind of the 0 is the shortcut to go into camera view. Where'd it go? Where'd that camera go? Here we go, right here. Where are you at? In clothes? In the clothes collection? No, that's silly. That's silly. That doesn't belong there. Good heavens, no. Let's move this out. Okay, camera, let's pull this back. Like that. We'll go into numpad 0. Then let's G on the Y to move it. Like that. I wonder if we want to bring this down a little bit. Rotate it on the X. There we go. Rotate it on the X just a scotch. In the look, you can add contrast. So if it looks a little washed out, you can add high contrast, and boom, she just comes to life right there. And that's money, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, that is money. So we can render in Eevee, and it'll render pretty quickly. You can render in cycles, and man, it's going to take some time, and that's okay. So I'm going to render this in cycles, okay? And I'm going to use GPU compute, and then sampling. Viewport, doesn't really mess around with. That's this viewport. That's why it's kind of grainy. It's called noise. We'll denoise that in a minute. I want to double this. 128. Let's make it. What is 128 double? 256. Okay. All right. So we've doubled the output of the render, and now we're going to add some denoising. Also, our output settings, which are here, we're at 100%. We want to double this. 200%. We really want some nice detail and some nice clarity with this image. Okay, so come down here to view layer properties, and then in passes, data, select denoising data. Okay, now let's make use of the compositor, the denoising node. So click over into compositor, click use nodes, and this the render layer pops up. Okay, so we want to denoise. Noises, you know, it's like the specs on the image. Okay, and so we're going to add a node for that. Shift A, and then search for denoise. Shabam. Okay, and we have 3. Look right here. We have 3, and they match with these 3. So we want to take our noisy image, connect it to the image, take our denoising normal, connect it to the normal, and take our denoising albedo, no idea what or who that is, congrats albedo for getting in there, and connect it to albedo. Okay, you with me? You know how to use nodes now, and all we're doing, this is a denoising node, right? And now let's take our denoise image and put it in the image, just like that. Okay, and this is highly recommended. This is the best way to denoise. I can't say that because Blender might come out with something awesome in the future. This is what I do. So now we are officially ready to render the last time out, and we're going to do that. We're going to bump up the quality of the image that we export. So it's going to be very high detail. Okay, let us render image and see what happens. And I'm just going to let this play. It's going to take a minute. Okay, so once it finishes rendering, you just click image right here, save as, hit save as image, and then shabam, done. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is how you model a character in Blender for beginners. So if you enjoyed this, if you finish it, send me work. I would love to see what you did and what your finished pieces look like. Find me, send me a note, send me a message, say hi. By all means, If you found value in this, you can like it or share it. And if you want to support the channel, by all means do that. There are links where you can support art, free art for the world. So what do you do now that you have a character model? Well, you got to do something with it. And what you do is rig. You rig that. And now we start to animate the character. So in the next tutorial, like if you get here and you want to take this model further, then you should rig it. And that is the next series. That's not a one episode kind of thing. That is a dense topic, and it is long and involved, and that's its own series. I highly recommend taking that class after you finish this one. So if you've made it here and you want to go do something else and you're happy with this as it is, go do it. I wish you a fair and prosperous journey, and I hope you enjoyed the Blender character modeling tutorial in the style of anime for beginners. Support Blender, support open source software, support the Blender Cloud, support Blender Institute, support Blender developers. Just support Blender. Blender is outstanding, and we couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for them. So high five digitally and support it. Like, yeah, you want to support our channel, fine, but take care of Blender first. That is they're the moon, right? We're the hand that points to the moon, right? Do not mistake the hand for the moon. This tutorial series was the hand, and that's cool. Blender is the moon, all right? That is the thing that gives light in the darkness. So, okay, that's it. That finishes up. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. So, for the very last time, get up, get a stretch, get a bend, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next one.